too many of you are letting these undefined chances just slip right by because you're not saying, you know what? I'm going to ask for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That partnership, I'm going to ask for that. Being on that podcast, I'm going to ask for that. A discount on that course or that mastermind, I'm going to ask for that. The discount on the car, I'm going to ask for that. It's not one at-bat. It's not two at-bats. It's several at-bats. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. You have to remember that. First, you have to realize you have an ask muscle, and then you have to go to the gym and develop that ask muscle with lots of repetitions.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
And we're back
with another episode of He Said, She Said.
All right. You have something really exciting. I don't think you're really going to announce it right now, but you're going to kind of tee it up. You want to share it?
Oh my gosh, you guys, this has come out of 1,600 podcast episodes in 10 years. And I have been doing a lot of studying on different guests who go on shows, and especially on my show, and why they make money and others leave without even a follower. And there is a very specific track that people run on from pitch to call to action on the podcast. And it is the difference between $0 and 0 followers to people that have been on my show that have made tens of thousands of dollars in one link in a few hours of the podcast launching from that link, to others that I'm studying that have made $1 million on a single episode. And so this is something that I truly believe is one of the most overlooked opportunities right now in the industry. I don't know why people keep starting podcasts right now when there are thousands of audiences and thousands of podcast hosts looking for not just guests, but great guests who understand that podcasting is not an interview. It is a sales funnel where you teach your best stuff, tell your best stories to the point where the listener is legitimately eating out of your hand. I have gotten off of podcast interviews where I have bought my own guests' services and bought my own guests' coaching programs because I was so bought in and I knew what they were doing. They set me up from start to finish by pre-sending me literally everything. And nobody knows this inside secret that actually goes on for the guests who are professional guests, who this is their biggest sales funnel is podcasting. You guys, I am breaking all of this down. You're not going to want to miss it. Go to milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. And I think your life is about to change, especially if you have a story to tell and you're a good storyteller. And even if you're not, we're going to teach you how to do that too.
That is milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. Guys, seriously, 1,600 episodes. And I'm just going to say it more plain than you. The majority waste the opportunity on a giant show like yours or anyone else's shows that they're on. And they're out there buying ads, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. They're out there trying to master the algorithm. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When you guys are missing the single greatest free opportunity in front of you by learning how to be a professional guest that mints millions. My God. So seriously, hit pause real quick. Go get on the wait list because not everyone's going to get to participate. Go to milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. It is dropping really soon. Okay, I want to tell a story today. And this podcast episode is really centered around you really do get what you ask for. Matter of fact, there's an old adage out there that says, careful what you ask for, you might just get it. Well, this is talking about you're not going to get what you don't ask for. So Lori and I were on our walk this morning with the boys. When I say the boys, that's the dogs, in case you guys don't know that we have dogs, not kids. And we call them the boys. And so we're on a walk this morning, and we live in one of the most coveted, amazing neighborhoods in Newport Beach called the Flower Streets. And you have to know what the Flower Streets are to actually understand how special the Flower Streets are. And they're called the Flower Streets because each street is named after a flower, but everybody also does all their landscaping with amazing flowers. And so they're this iconic neighborhood, and it's really hard to get a place in. I don't care if you're buying. I don't care if you're leasing. I don't care if you're willing to pay over ask. It is so hard to get a place in the Flower Streets, especially one that you like. So we're walking by a guy with a golden retriever that we've walked by before, and the golden retriever runs out of the front yard to say hi to the boys, and they do their thing, they mix it up, and tails are wagging, and things are great. And he's photographing his house. And I said, "What are you doing shooting the house?" He's like, "A project?" He's like, "Nope, listing it." He's like, "Matter of fact, we have to get out of the place, and they're listing it." And I said, "Hey, I'm a professional photographer, so I'll shoot some pictures for you." And I said, "Oh, it's a bummer. We're going to miss you." Because, we've seen him and his golden retriever a couple of times when we walk past his house. He's like, "No, you're not. Moving right next door." And we look over, and there's a house. Lori and I have a saying that we borrowed from someone else. I forgot what it was, but "This or something better." You remember where that came from?
No.
Okay, well, "This or something better" is a saying that...
A Course in Miracles.
A Course in Miracles, that's right. Well, this is literally the definition of "this or something better," because the house that he's leaving is one of those quintessential, perfect, beautiful, timeless flower street homes. And the one next door is that on steroids. And I'm like, "Oh my God, bro, that worked out so good. How'd you end up at the house next door?" He said, "Well, it's a funny story. The guy next door doesn't live there, hasn't lived there for years. And when he's come around a couple of times, I've chatted him up and we became friends. And he said, 'Hey, would you do me a favor? Would you keep an eye on the house when I'm gone?'" Now, if you think this seems weird, a lot of people just park money in houses, and once in a while they'll come use it once a year in this neighborhood.
Second home.
Yep, second home, third home. There's a lot of that here. And so he says, "Yeah, of course I'll keep an eye on it." And he did. He kept a good active eye on it, and let the guy know if there's a package on the front stoop, or he'd let the guy know if something was wrong, and kind of developed a little bit of a relationship with his neighbor that didn't technically live next door. Well, when he found out that they were not going to renew the lease on his home that he's in and loved, he's like, "My God, where are we going to go? We can't leave these Flower Streets. This is kind of like what you and I would say. There's no other neighborhood for us. We have to stay in the Flower Street." And remember, it's really hard to get a place, especially as nice as what he's used to. And so he thought, you know what? You don't get what you don't ask for. So he texted the guy that owns the home next door. He said, "Hey, crazy idea. We can't renew the lease in the place that we're in right now. It seems like you're never here. Pardon me if I'm overstepping, but is there any world in which you would lease or sell your home to us?" And the guy said, "It's funny you ask. I'd never really thought about it, but I'd be open to it." And the punchline is he ended up leasing it to him. And now they're in talks like, well, maybe one day you could buy it. So the guy's literally moving next door, not because it was listed, not because it was on the market, only because he was willing to reach out and ask for it. Now, that may sound like a significant story, may not sound like a significant story to you, but the point is this. Too many of you are letting these undefined chances just slip right by because you're not saying, "You know what? I'm going to ask for that."
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That partnership, I'm going to ask for that. Being on that podcast, I'm going to ask for that. A discount on that course or that mastermind, I'm going to ask for that. The discount on the car, I'm going to ask for that.
I've had so many moments like this because my ask muscle, not my ass muscle, but those two, I'm squatting a lot, has gotten so much stronger. But I'm remembering back to one where I just had started asking for things. I was like, okay, I'm already kind of doing it, but I'm going to put it on steroids. And this was quite a few years ago. I'm trying to think. This was actually pandemic. This was 2020. And I had already had my podcast forever. And I was really working on networking with women who were far ahead of me. I mean, founders of big companies, people who were just in the game 5-10 years longer than me. And that felt really intimidating to me. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw some stuff out there because I know my podcast is valuable and I know that I have value. I know that I can offer things. And so I had just met Allie Webb and we had kind of started hanging out in the same group. And I met another woman named Britt Driscoll as well, who was her CMO at Dry Bar. So if you don't know who Allie Webb is, she's the founder of Dry Bar. And then Britt Driscoll was the CMO. And so I had met both of them, loved them. And one day I knew that Allie had a podcast with her brother. And I had seen that I think that they were either going to stop it or she was like trying to think about what she wanted to do with it. And then she had another podcast that she was doing with her partner at the time. But I had heard something on the podcast where she I don't know, wanted to do something different. And so one day I reached out to her and I was like, hey, stupid idea time. Would you ever want to just start a podcast with me and Britt? Like I pitched the two of them, called Girlfriends in Business. And we wouldn't have a ton of work because each of us could take turns interviewing different people. And then we could do, 1 to 2 episodes a month, the 3 of us together. And it would be a low lift. I would cover it all. I'd pay for it all. I'd set up all the scheduling, but it'd be great to have you on because obviously your name pulls incredible guests. And that would be such a huge benefit for me as well to be a partner with you in this podcast. And so she said, yes. And I was like, oh my God, you literally, I remember jumping up and down going, wow, you do not get what you don't ask for. Now, while the podcast did not last too long because schedules were very hard to align, it was such a great learning experience. I got so crazy connected to people that I would never have had contact with before. And those podcast episodes are still epic, you guys. Go back and listen. Like they're all awesome. Like they're really incredible podcast episodes with incredible guests. And so it was just such if for anything else, it taught me so much about the power of asking, how you never know with timing and where people are at. And so what was valuable to her is that she didn't have to do anything for it. She just had to show up, have the conversations that she wanted to have. And I felt great because I already had the team. I already understood how this goes. And I felt great investing in it because it was such a value prop for me to be associated with those names in proximity. So it was like such a boost for me while she was able to show up and create the content that she wanted.
I've got one more example of it really paying off let's call this an episode of you get what you ask for and you don't get what you don't ask for. So when I got my idea for my 2-sided marketplace that is now Frello, for those of you that have been following a long time, you remember the idea was originally a personal loan app where one stranger would lend $500 or $1,000 to another stranger. And it was because I had lent some money to a stranger online and you said, hey, don't pay me back. Just make put yourself in position to do this for someone else one day. And it ended up changing his life and lighting a fire for him. And I was like, wait, I got to solve this at scale. Now, when I became obsessed with solving it at scale, I realized one small problem. I do not understand tech. I am not techie. I've never wanted an app. I've never wanted to be in the tech business. It is not my thing, but I was obsessed with solving this problem. And so I thought, okay, who out there could help me do this? I'm like, oh, my friend Matt, who, spoiler alert, is now my business partner, but he wasn't at the time. We were just friends and not even like best friends or anything like that. Just good, solid friends. We'd see each other on trips once or twice a year, etc. So I texted Matt and I'm like, hey, got an idea I want to run by you. And we jumped on the phone and I said to him, here's the picture, 2-sided marketplace, strangers lending to strangers. We insure the loans, we blah, 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 make the world a better place. And you, Matt, have the tech ability and the team to make this happen. And I know that you're selling your company right now. Is there any chance that you would want to do this with me? Now, seems logical. He'd say, sure, man, great idea. Let's do it. That was not the case because he was going through very difficult due diligence period at the time while he was selling his last tech company. And if you guys have never sold a company or been involved in a transaction like that, there is a period after you agree to a price called due diligence, and it can last months and it can last years. And it is where the other side, the purchasing side, is looking under the hood and auditing everything to make sure they're really getting what they're paying for. And it can be brutal regardless of what kind of industry you're in. But if you happen to be in government contracts, which Matt was, it could be extra brutal, and all sorts of variables can happen to the company while you're in due diligence. So he had one of the longest, worst, most tiring, most frustrating due diligence periods that you could ever have. And so when I brought the idea to him, he's like, man, listen, I'm open, but not right now. we got to get through this sale. We got to get through due diligence. The team is all hands on deck. We can't even begin to add 1% of energy, outside of this transaction, but I'll let you know when the transaction's done. Now, I did not take that as defeat. I did not take that as being brushed off. I said, absolutely going to hold you to it, buddy. I'll check in again. So kind of kept my eye on the ball for a few months and, hey man, how you doing? How's due diligence going? Hey, it's going well. Not there yet. A few months later, hey buddy, how's it going? And, you done with due diligence yet? I said, oh, not yet. A few months later, hey, yeah, actually, we just closed on the transaction. Now, you think this would be like, hey, sweet, great, let's do this, right? No, because when people sell their company for a life-changing amount of money, what do they typically want to do?
Not work.
Not work. Take some time off. The team is tired. He was tired. You want to enjoy the rewards of what you just built, in his case, for 14 years, and then had this life-changing exit. But I didn't stop asking. I said, hey, man, let me paint the vision to you one more time. So I did. As a matter of fact, I said, what if we went to Miami, hung out? What if we had our buddy Darren come with us, who's a great sounding board, and let's just really talk about this. So we went to Miami for a few days, really dug in. I really pitched it to him. I really showed him the vision. We talked about everything, like, okay, how involved would you have to be? I know that you're not looking for another, CEO spot right away in the grind right away and all this stuff. And we left Miami with him saying, tell you what, this sounds awesome. I want to do it. If you can get the team to do it, then I'm in. So we got the team on the Zoom, his team. And sure enough, they're like, this is awesome. Let's do it. And that was when his team and he became my business partner and our team. Now, let me tell you, I could not have built Frello. I could not have launched Frello. I could not have accomplished what we have accomplished without Matt and his team becoming our team. They were that good. I got that because I asked not once, not twice, but several times, and then asked them to go to Miami and sit down and really feel this thing out. That's the level of which you have to ask sometimes, guys. It's not one at-bat. It's not two at-bats. It's several at-bats. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. You have to remember that. So as Lori said, first you have to, realize you have an ask muscle, and then you have to go to the gym and develop that ask muscle with lots of repetitions.
Okay, so we hope that you guys truly understand that your life will only be made up of all of the things that you are willing to boldly, audaciously ask for. And that's the only difference between somebody who has what they want and someone who doesn't, is that they just got bold and stopped caring about what people thought. And that's pretty much the story of you and I, like our entire lives. So you guys go and check out the waitlist. Don't check it out. Please go on the waitlist. Go to milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. And no matter what, you guys, I'm telling you, you're going to learn so much about how you've been marketing. And if you do not go on podcasts right now, this is such an untapped money center. Let me just tell you, it is real. It happens every single day. I watch it on all of my episodes. And there are people who are making so much money from podcasts, while a ton of you are going on and saying, I don't know, let me just add value and I'll talk about whatever for your guests. Do not ever go on a podcast saying that ever again. I'm going to help you with everything that you need in order to start making money from your podcast. So go check it out.
That's milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. Again, that is milliondollarguest.com/waitlist. Thanks for listening. We love and appreciate you.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.